Hmm. Eucalyptus. Oh. Oh, way too much. Mmm. Oh, yeah. Got that flowing. That's good. All right. We're ready. Give you the energy of argonite, baby. Harmonized argonite. Soak that in. Blue argonite. Because I can't hold this bowl with the argonite in it. Yeah, that's too easy to trance with. Had to break out of it. Felt that covered on. It was like, yeah. Oh, that's good. That's a good one. That's a good one. Well, guten morning, as they would say. This is the Chocolate Mountain Show, and I am your humble host, Big Pontiac otherwise known as Eight Wind, otherwise known as Starface, otherwise also a Time Lord. I am the holder of the infinite ball game that was created by the Hero Twins. And I am also your galactic daddy, welcoming each and every one of you to join me on my galactic patio from Minnesota to the universe. So tonight I've drank beer tonight. So pop them if you got them, smoke them if you want them. We give you the transformation from the man to the panther, to the feminine feline energies, the transformation, and of course, from the infinite ball game, we give you the energy of the ball player holy man. Oh, wow. Wow. Lorenzo, what's happening? Siova, there's that bad man, Siova. What happened? I'm like all out of position. Okay. Hard hitting. Hey, thank you for joining me. There he is, Conspiracy. What's the word? Mockingbird. I feel you. Big G, thank you. Pale Horse, there we go. Eleanor, your popcorn is ready. PJ, my man. Yes, let's definitely get that frequency right. Very kind words. My dog and a bunch of people came up to me asking me, can I pet your dog? And I said, no, the owner kicked me out. Mind you, I have a pit bull. Well, the dog's more important than that. Mr. Lamborghini, what's happening? I guess the first topic is, what they tripping out of here because they got to, Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center. That shit's way north of me, like way north of me. That shit's like 45 minutes away from me where that boy got killed. And she got 2 years. She did all that sobbing. I really think the taser thing was a hoax. I mean, it's no way with the training that you grab one and not the other. It's just no way. Now I'll say this. When I was a cop back in 89 through 91, 92, we wasn't using tasers. Like when I worked with this small department, as I said before, I was like super soldier. At one time, that department, I'd carry 4 guns because the department had old 38s, and I used to carry one of them too. I used to stick that I would stick that in my holster, just a loose 38. And it was like, I think, I was saying I had the Magnum when I had the pearl handles. I think they called them all. It was a smaller body than the J body, but still this gun, shit, it wasn't new then. That gun was probably 10, 15 years old then. So that gun was probably from like the 80s, 70s. Got the good CBD oil. Gives my hands a little comfort and shit. But yeah, so I just thought from the very beginning that was a Conway of and if he died, because just like the brother that died that got killed, the Fernando, I think his name was, or whatever his name was, I thought that was a hoax too. And so Floyd, again, I've talked about the Floyd shit being practiced a year before, where he was going, "Oh my mama, man, oh my mama, man," that crack language. But it was a year before, and it was like almost the same thing. It was 6, 7 cops for just him. This wasn't no heavy dude. It was a dude I'd hit in the forearm. That dude would go flying. So it all seems kind of like a hoax in a lot of ways. Castile was the other cat's name. I doubt that. Can't say with Floyd, but Castile, this cat, I don't know. That shit look, I don't know. It's like one thing I caught, they showed this killing of the cop getting shot. I like ran the tape slowly, and one video where the dude is in the hallway. Check this out. The dude like is in the door. It's like, come on, hurry up. Well, I watched it one time. The dude is just standing there. I watched it about 20 minutes ago. The motherfucker had a cigarette in his hand. I'm like, and the dude came out left-handed. I'm like, no, wait a minute, is this two different videos? I checked back. It was supposedly the same video. One video, no cigarette. He comes out with his right hand. I just saw a video where he's holding a cigarette and comes out with his left hand. Now, maybe y'all can help me. Maybe this is two complete videos. The one where the SWAT team is going in is very funny because, again, they bum rushing with not the heavier vest, just regular shirt vest. Usually SWAT and that many officers, they go in with the heavier vest. You know, the double vest. They wear a vest under your shirt and another vest up top. None of them dudes did it. And you can see where the officers are reacting to getting shot. But what they're setting up is, again, this is all a gun grab. It's all a gun grab. And every time it's melanated people. So we see it a gun grab. We see them want to justify probably taking guns from melanated people first. You know, they give Fox gives the publicity to a professional booster. Means when do professional boosters get on TV? When do they get interviewed? So this peers agenda. I mean, a lot of, like, I've been on Sunset. What is it? No. It's Hollywood Boulevard. Maybe I'm wrong, but I've been to those places in California, and them places, like, some of them, the door is locked, and you have to go in. They have to let you in. So all of a sudden, people can just run in these places when a lot of these places have security that the door is locked. So I don't know. I know someone who works at a grocery store, and they said that the food price was going up. What do you think about that? Of course. I mean, I talked about that last night. Look at Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree charges $1.25. Gas today is still $3.50. But Dollar Tree charging $1.25. So it's not just food is going up, everything is going. Like I said about my shavers, I use the Schick shavers. Them shavers stayed forever, $4 or $5. Now them same shavers where you get two shavers, so it's $5 a shaver. Them shavers is $10. Now they're $5 a shaver, $10. So the food prices is everything. I mean, Aldi's is one of the places, and we live near a chicken farm. We live near a chicken where they cut the chickens up. It's not far. It's several in Wisconsin. But I noticed Aldi's, they're just not carrying it like they before. Like, I got some breasts, and, you know, Aldi's used to have the breast of the hormone chickens. You know, the breast would be big as my hand. You know, the chicken is only this big. Usually breast is so big. Now they got the more natural breast that's only that wide. They ain't the big hand pieces that they used to have. So we seeing that. But everything has went up. Houses went up tremendously. Cars, kind of the same. But you see shoes are more. Clothes kind of holding their price a little bit. Clothes is ain't really up that much. They're about the same. Like I said, Levi's rarely go on sale. This week they was on sale at Macy's. Hell, I found a pair of Levi's for $4. $4. I just looking through shit and I was like, well, how many these motherfuckers? $4, $4.95. $60 pants. So, you know, patience and shopping. The guns for melanated people. Absolutely right. I mean, what else would they be hyping this up for? I mean, the Castile, as I said, I explained about whoever got killed in Pittsburgh around the same time Castile. They interviewed the brother. The brother was calm and collect. The next day, they interviewed, because, you know, Castile got killed, and then the dude in Pittsburgh got shot very similarly. The dude had a permit. And the next day, now, I watched the brother after the killing. Very calm. The next day, it almost looked like they was filming a rap video with him. And he's like crying. He's like, it's a setup. It's a setup. They told us to get these permits to carry. Now they're killing us. I mean, you couldn't have. I wish I could have taped that. I should have taped that at the time, but it was such a script. Here you were the day after. You ain't even upset. The day of, excuse me. He was calm, cool, collected. And then the next day, the way they shot it was like a movie video. And it's like brothers looking, you know, and he's in the center and he's crying. They're setting us up. They told us to get these, and now they're killing us because we have them. I mean, what do you think that is? What do you think that is? I mean, these school shootings that are backed by Democrats, you got to know Democrats have backed all that shit. They have backed all of it because it's all about gun control, like bump stocks. Why would you take away bump stocks? Of all the stupid shit in the world, there ain't a big advantage. You got to put the energy in it to make it do that. I think that just got, I'm sorry, I think they're not illegal anymore. They said another state, at least this state, you can have, if you want one of them 100 round drums, you can have it in this state. I sold my rifle, so all mine was 30. I don't think I even had 110. All of them was 30. So, but that's what it's turning into is they don't want you to have them. I mean, again, we are the most armed people in the world, and this is still something they fear. So they've been trying through hook or crook to figure out a way to take the guns away. Because the moment the guns get taken away, you know, we've submitted, and this society is doomed. It's doomed. Now, you know, we've had the first president that threatened the people, said we can't take over the government because they got nuclear bombs and they got jets. The first president proclaiming that he would use the military against the people. Why would it take all that? All stage, yeah, that sheep are like, you need all that for hunting, no bitch. It's about enemy, foreign, and domestic. Yeah, that's right. Enemy, foreign, and domestic. Because right now, in a lot of ways, the government have been against the people. I mean, this thing we've seen, they ain't pushing this shit to help people. This has been agenda that's kind of backfired on them. I mean, look at what Canada's doing. I mean, Michigan did the same thing. They called it Operation Gridlock, but they wasn't being arrested for not moving. I mean, again, they didn't stay all these weeks, couple weeks, 2-3 weeks, whatever it is. But we see, I think that's a preview for what they're trying to do. I mean, we have a mug in there. It's like Jimmy Carter. It appears that the people hate him. You know, people like, it's campaigns coming up. It's campaigns coming up, and they telling Biden not to come campaign for him. They definitely not telling Sister Girl. Ain't nobody saying, Sister Girl, come campaign for me. And as I said many times, them Chucks and Pearls, that shit left so quick. Nobody likes her. I mean, again, when she was trying to run for president, her own state didn't pick her. She was like last in her own state. Hard hitting. A lot changed after Captain Hook staged event. Yeah, a lot has changed. I mean, people don't realize that complying in a lot of ways is for the future. They're trying to see how much they can do to the people before the people break. Now, again, even if Floyd was staged, they didn't expect the reaction from Floyd. They didn't think that shit, them protests around the world, because it was a lot of the same bullshit going on. And the world kind of was like, fuck this. And it shook the world. Now, I don't think Floyd should be a martyr the way he is, but that's how he's used. He's used as being a martyr. Is he one? I mean, if it's a fake event, was he really a martyr? I've always thought this was a staged area. When I saw what they did to Young and then the protests cutting off just the 4th precinct, I saw this, and I've talked about it. I know on my other show that this was a practice area. This was a test area that was preparing for Floyd because they were trying to cause it. They were trying to cause it. Now, in some way, they knew the protest was coming. That's why you see them at the auto place that sold the auto parts, Action Auto or whatever it was called. And you see it was a dude from St. Paul, one of the sergeants that started to break in the windows that wanted the looting. because again, looting takes away from the message. A lot of these Europeans that was with the cause, the looting is a way to get them away from it. That's why the police want to start the looting. So in some ways they was prepared for it. I don't think they was prepared for the numbers. I don't think they were prepared the way it moved across the country and across the world. I don't think they were prepared for that. And now we have police. I mean, it's like it sets up the police script. Now it's like, nobody loves police. Everybody hates police. And then, as they did here, they wouldn't police in the area Floyd got killed, and they wouldn't police on the north side. When you had a lot of these people coming from the suburbs saying, dismantle the police. A lot of people living like around where I live, they went into town. They ain't say dismantle our police. They said dismantle the police in Minneapolis. And there's crookedness, no doubt. There's been a lot of crookedness. It was a lot. It was a very corrupt system in a lot of ways. Really was. As I've said before, dope dealing. There was a heroin ring. No way this heroin ring could be as sophisticated as it was without their cooperation. It's just no way. It's something they've been involved with really when the CIA was starting to, even go back further when heroin came in. They've always had their involvement in it. I mean, one thing American Gangster shows you is what happened. They broke the French connection of the French bringing heroin in America, and then they started selling that heroin. The police department. If you listen to the history they was trying to tell you, the police department. As I said, one of the biggest thefts of all time. Well, I don't know about all time, but I was a cop when Kalamazoo, Michigan Police Department, 22 keys come up missing. Now, I know whose dope it was. I know whose dope they took it from. And then all of a sudden it disappears. Now, they claim there was no cameras back then. This is at 90, 89, 90. I can't quite remember. But there's generally someone there 24 hours a day taking in evidence. Or maybe it was just a first, second shift. I couldn't say. But think of all the cooperation and timing it would take. And again, 22 keys can go in a big duffel bag. But think of all the cooperation it would take to take that much out, not be seen, and walk out with no one seeing them at all. You think that's just one rogue dude? That takes a whole team of dudes. That's some Mission Impossible shit, So we know it was them. And I saw the dope back in the street. Within weeks, that dope did not even leave the area. I was like, this is that shit right there. So, I've got to see it from both sides. I've said this before. I wonder if they're going to show the Huey P. Newton character in Snowfall. But again, Huey P. Newton was a government informant, would work for the FBI. But what he started doing is he was a vulture, and he started holding up because he was a cocaine addict, and they got him addicted probably when he was in jail. Again, he was a chain smoker, so it was easy for him to get addicted to shit. And more than likely, after the Panthers, he blew all the Panthers' money because Lane Brown claims they had $1 million and 2 schools running, and all the breakfast programs was thriving when Huey got out. And she said in a matter of a year, Huey had blown the money and not really putting it in the programs. Again, we catch Elaine Brown lying about Butchie Carter. So it's hard to believe even that story. But Snowfall should show that, because we know that's kind of how Newton ended up getting killed, trying to jack one of Freeway's guys. Floyd may have sacrificed himself for his daughter. And didn't she get a lot of money after the protests? The more money went to the family. More money went to his brothers than went to his daughter. Because it wasn't until his daughter came down with his mama, with her nails done, weave done, that's when she started getting money. But before that, it went to the brothers and the mama. It went to them. So they got the most money. 22K's life-changing money. Well, that's why, when they took it, they had their hand in it. That's the point. When they got raided, this was part of their shit. So do you understand? When they went in there and took it, I know who they took it from. I know who they took it from. And when they took it from him, it was part of their pocket. So they went back out and got it and redistributed. I wouldn't be surprised. I never asked him, but I wouldn't have been surprised they gave it right back to him. They gave it right back to him because another unit took it. It was the Southwest enforcement team that he sold it to. So they kept that pretty hush-hush when they raided him. But once he got raided, that they wasn't going for that shit. They got that shit back within days. Within well, I'll say maybe a week and a half. So they didn't let that go. There was too much money. And back then, up here, Keys was 26 back then. Keys was about 25, 26 in town. You know, now when I used to go to Florida, it was like 10 to 9 to 8 sometimes, just depending how you catch people. I went down there and went in this palace one time, and a young boy was running it. And so went in there, and I was just like, well, you know, how pure is this shit? And he grabs a freaking key. Well, he grabs a brick, and it's a brick of cocaine. He just grabs it, throws it into the wall. And the shit really don't powder and break up. That's how hard it was. And this shit was super pure. But I just remember it was like this motherfucker was 15 and he had some Tony Montana kind of shit down in Miami. He was 15, everybody working for him. But I remember the room where all the cane was and shit. He just took one. It was like, see here, don't bust. Don't powder up. You see that shit? You'll be able to break that shit, step on it. Oh, that was my man, though. That was my man. It was staged. Steven Jackson is a known Mason. His father happened at 33, and so is the hoax code. That's a good one. What is this? Am I missing shit? Oh, here we go. Think about they said now about the people who cut meat out at your grocery stores. Yeah. Like the time when the first plane hit. Yeah. I got you. So these world events is kind of hard. I mean, right now it's like I said last night, you know, $17 ain't shit in inflation. That's how they adjust it. That's how they move the scale. And I think kind of like I've had a couple people where they had signs and I like sent a couple people at these places and they didn't get the jobs. It's like you got all these signs that say they hiring, and I've sent people to places, and all of a sudden they say, nah, they ain't hiring. I'm like, damn. So some of that shit is a hoax too. Because I've sent a bunch of people in different places. I got hair on me somewhere. Keeps floating by. So, even as I started looking at the signs, I thought that from the very beginning. But as I've sent people to places, I started seeing now. I was like, this is the same old bullshit. But it's a hoax thing. You put that everybody's hiring, but motherfuckers ain't getting jobs. So how you describe that? They had 32,000 right now. But see, you are, where you are, up here is 36. Up here is 36. Again, it's hard to get shit up here. That's why I know that heroin ring had to have help. It's hard to get shit up here. I mean, we're kind of stuck because there's no really direct route here. I mean, it's like, do you go south to Texas? Do you go from California? Or do you go to Chicago? Chicago is closer. But again, the way things travel to Chicago, it's slow in itself. And I watched that hustle. I mean, again, it was easy for me to get in the Chicago market because they just wasn't getting it. And then crack hit Chicago late. You know, that's one thing the gangs kind of held down, but after a while they couldn't. And so the prices in Chicago was way different than the prices in Detroit. There's always more. Always more. A46 was how long his knee was on his neck, and then was it necessary? And it looked staged. I mean, who does that with pictures? I mean, it's just like that's the thing, the fallacy with folks thinking the cameras, they was prepared for that. They knew that the camera was going to show that shit. They've been showing videos since Rodney King, and at the first trial, the people got off. The people didn't get convicted until the feds went after them. So the first trial, Christopher Dalton, that was the OJ trial, he lost. He lost for the people of LA. I don't know if people remember that. Christopher Darden was the one that lost. He was the prosecutor that lost in that first Rodney King trial. And did he want to lose? More than likely. How long I've been going? Okay, I can't go too late because I got to get up at like 5 something tomorrow. It is a super early day, so I'm not gonna go too long. PJ or 8 plus 4. Let's read it here. 8 plus 4 plus 6 equals 18. 18 easily could be 666. Yeah. Then they give the people on the right peed on breadcrumbs, so they say he was high on drugs. Oh yeah, they said he had the bug and he had fentanyl in the system. And that fentanyl, like they did the fake thing of fentanyl. Yeah, absolutely divide and conquer. They did the fake fentanyl thing here because they had a person come on I watched, and this motherfucker said, like right up here, I reported this, I think, on this channel. This was in the last year where it was like 6 cops went into a place, 4 of them supposedly opened the bags, and they all OD'd. Well, I saw Kimmons saying that's impossible. He said you cannot just touch a fentanyl bag or smell it and it's gonna make you OD. That's what this professor came in, this chemical dude. So we know that this was all staged. Like they had the dude outside the car, And up here it was like they said it was 4 people fell out at the house, and then they said 3 cops fell out. Well, that was all staged. We see. And I've said before, fentanyl is not a cut. I mean, the shit is about the same price. It is not a cheap cut. That's why I don't get. They keep putting it out there like fentanyl is a cheap cut or a cheap substitute. Ain't that goddamn cheap? What's this? Seen them going for 50 up in the north. Tennessee got stupid high, like 60 and up. Wow, I never seen it that high. Not since if you remember, like you say, consider the movie Blow. Prices back then was 100. Well, no, I'll take it back. I'll give you a better example. If anybody who knows who Dr. Snow is, that dentist, and you can probably find him on YouTube under Dr. Snow. His name might come to me. But back then, Keys, and this is 80, 81, and Keys was over 100, 150,000. And that was out of Miami. Like I only mentioned the movie Blow because when the movie Blow came out, Keys was about 100 to 150,000. Almost rivaling what heroin cost per key. So, more shaming. Absolutely. Never heard of that, but yep, even more proof it was staged. China keeps sending it. Yeah, but they can make China ain't the only one making that shit. They can make that shit in South America. They can make that shit in Mexico. They keep saying China, but they can make that shit there. So China don't need them. I mean, the South Americans, the cartels don't need China. It ain't like, Snowfall showed only a few people knew how to bake it up, cook it up, and not cook up base, because it was people cooking up base. Base and crack was 2 different chemicals. I mean, you got to eat. You got what is it called? A rum base. In when you do base cocaine, it's more of a rum. You have to add rum instead of ether, so it's a more expensive process. So that was already out there. But of course, Snowfall gonna act like that shit was out there already. You talk about Jabbar, Richard Pryor, all that before Snowfall. When Jabbar talking about they called freebasing baseball, freebasing ain't smoking crack. So freebasing was around since Richard Pryor fell out, what, 75, 76, 77, somewhere in there? That was already out there. You understand? So it wasn't like they show you with Freeway Ricky Ross and Snowfall where people was all of a sudden just being zombies on crack. It was people freebasing already. What did I miss?
What is this? And look right, his knee was on the back of his neck, not in the front, where the air passage is. Plus, he personally knew him. Oh, yeah, they worked at the same club together, so they had to know each other. To get perk 30s, they took the army out of Afghanistan where we was guarding them poppy fields. Yeah, yeah, no doubt. And that's why heroin keys was at an all-time low. Heroin was at an all-time low. Dealer, I can turn 26 into 45. My wrist is slick. I got you. I mean, hell, we used to turn O's. We would pay, like where in the city where I lived, in Kalamazoo, O's was going for $1,200. We was going to Detroit getting them 7-8. I mean, it just depended if you got them hard or soft. Now, if you got them hard, you lost 3 grams. So instead of getting 28, you was getting, 25? You would lose 3 grams. So if you went to get an ounce, you was only getting 25 grams. But if you got powder, you got it all. And sometimes the powder came in balls. Yeah. So, shit, one time I had brought back, it was like softball. I had a piece of crack that was like this. Was like, they called them, a big 8. That's what they called it. I think it's 4.5, but it was a big piece like this. I made a ton, and I paid, because those could go for big 8s could go for 7-8, and I think at the time I think dude gave me a break, 3,500, and shit, I made like 12 off that shit. So, the fentanyl lollipop's going for $75 a pop. Not a cheap drug at all. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. As a cut, that's been my argument from the beginning. As a cut, it ain't a cheaper cut. It's not a cheaper cut, and that's what they try to make you think. I never heard of the lollipops though. That's new to me. Right now, even though the shit's illegal, you can get the CBD, THC. Like they got the little nerds things. That shit gets you buzzed like a motherfucker, and it's just THC. 2 out of Jefferson Projects. Wild. Ooh. What's it? Shout out to 2 Jefferson Projects. 28 to 45, that would make you a wizard. There you go. Well, I mean, I've said this before, and I can't think of the drug, but from, again, Dr. Ice, Larry Lavin is his name. So if you look up Larry Lavin, his book, and his book had the method on how to cut this shit. It was a chemical that you could get from pharmacists. You could get a gallon of this shit. And what you do is you take the balls, you cut out the key, and you start spraying this shit on, and you just keep kind of moving it, and you would spray this shit on, and you would put it under lights, and you would just keep adding it. And the thing about it, like if you did it, you would have to do it to powder. You wasn't doing that to crack, but the cool thing about it was, so you damn near you would take an ounce, you would damn near put 10 grams of this powder on it, but it wouldn't cook off. It wouldn't cook off, so it was kind of interesting the way it would stay with it. But that was a little trick. Some kids just OD'd, high schoolers here in Hartford. Jeffrey's up in that area too. He's up in that area. Unless so there was all kind of tricks back in the day, but I mean, at this age, I don't want to try any. I definitely don't want to sell any. That's why I was joking. They talking about, you got the number, nigga. Yeah, I know people. I ain't never severed them connections, but it don't mean I want to step back into that. I mean, not being scared of jail or nothing. It's just the people you got to deal with. I don't want to deal with people like that. There's a thirstiness now, you see. But hell, it's always been a thirstiness. I had shootouts over fucking weed. Motherfuckers trying to rob me of some weed and shit. They didn't think I was ready. It's called Super B. Yeah, I don't remember what that chemical is called, but it's in that book. Larry Lavin, they put that chemical name in that book. Making you straight drop them. You're going to lose always. Quality over quantity. Yeah. And it's like the powder people never went away. That's the thing. I like selling powder more than I like selling crack, because crack, you had to go sit somewhere. Powder was more of a casual thing. You know, you go around, let some people get some lines, and, you know, you might see 10, 20 people. It's more of a casual thing. Crack, you pretty much got to squat in a place. That's just pretty much the way the business went. Unless somebody called you or paged you, then you would move around. But powder was way cleaner to deal with. I preferred that. I preferred that. Like my one friend, and like now his son is grown, and I'm friends with his girl because she had children by another one of my friends. And it's funny, she an Indian sister, which beautiful sister. But like her dad was my best friend. Like I talked about Peanut, but her man was Mark, and Mark had just got out of prison, and somebody put him on. I don't know who put him on. I told this story before. I had bought some Tommy shirts, and I was wearing one. And Mark was the kind of dude was like, "You like Tommy too?" This motherfucker had a closet of the shit. Now I had a few shirts, but the way he showed me had nothing to do with him bragging. He was like, "Yeah, you like this shit? Man, I like this stuff too." And it was like the way he presented that was cool because he wasn't putting me down. He was like, "Man, look at this shit. We just left the D. We came back." And he was that's the kind of cat he was. Well, that day I saw him, he had got shot in the groin by his cousin for not giving his cousin crack. Wouldn't give him any more credit, and his cousin shot him over like a 20. Like Mark had brought a 20 down because he had you had to go upstairs and the door was locked. So he had outside door you could lock. And right in that hallway, he had brought down the 20, and his cousin had no money and wanted more credit. And he wouldn't give him credit and shot him over a fucking 20. And later, another cousin killed him. And Mark was shit. He was young. Man, I would dare say he probably got killed 27, 28. I don't know. I just clicked with him. He was just like I said, that was an example of him showing me the clothes, not as a bragging way, just enthusiastically on, I like this shit too. That's the kind of dude he was. But yeah, you know, his life came to a quick end. Shout out to Mark. Rest in peace. Coke money was always wavy. Yeah, I hate dealing with sick zombies. Yeah, it was a plus they calling you like crack, and that was the better about even heroin. You know, a heroin person only gonna see you 2-3 days, but crack, you know, you pretty much every 20 minutes. If it's good, every 20. Like I was one of the first to bring in that yellow shit. I don't know if people remember when the shit was super yellow. And motherfuckers went crazy over that. They went crazy over it. And actually, the quality wasn't that great, but they went crazy over it. And it was pure yellow. When you cook, it was yellow even before you cooked it up. The key was yellow. And then you cooked it up, you got this yellow little rock. And I mean, fucking anything around me, nothing that can really compare it to. But the shit was yellow. Yeah, nothing to compare it to that's on me. But yellow. Because a lot of times in the middle of the key, we used to call it the butter because we would take out the middle part because it was like the way the chemicals mixed, there was always a yellow part that would you would see inside of the key would be like a yellow line. And we always called that the butter, and we would take that out for personal use. But yeah, crack brought a lot of weirdos. You know, that's why shit. Crackheads will sell their soul for another hit. Shit, a crackhead will carry a refrigerator out. If you took a motherfucker to an apartment where you wanted to take the fridge, a crackhead would carry that fucking refrigerator out. I told this story before. Mike had built me a door, and he had built another dude the same door, and the cops couldn't get in my other friend's door. He built the steel door that was reinforced. He reinforced it like where the house beam was. So one of the sides of the door was reinforced with one of the main beams downstairs of the house, and then he had reinforced the other where the cops couldn't break in the door. And I got a door like that. I had a door like that at one time, but Mike was my man. He would go, I want one in my neck. But plumber, you know, one of my pipes bust, you know, he'd be like, well, I just need one in my neck. I'm like, go do the work. That's how Mike was. Mike was, he worked with wood and shit, but he could build them reinforced doors. It was several of them. But I know my friend, they gave up. Because he had reinforced doors in the front and the back, and the only way they could come in the windows, and he had bars on the windows and shit. He was the only dude in town that had bars on the windows. They couldn't get in. Could not fucking get in. Yeah, that cheese. Yeah, yeah. It was the yellow in the middle of the key. We called that butter and shit. Motherfuckers was like, wasn't hip when I moved to Michigan. I was like, look at this part here. You take this part out. It's like, that's the butter. It's like, oh, I never thought about that. You know, hood talk. But I want to clarify something. So I ain't like when I've robbed people, I only rob dope dealers. I ain't never robbed like just Margaret, like Margaret's got her grocery money. I'm waiting around to get my, never like that. I only rob grocery. I'll say one example, and I said this before, and I probably told this story more than once. But I robbed a motherfucker that tried to stop in the middle of the fucking night. That's the only person I robbed other than dope dealers. And hell, I was still in college when I robbed his ass. I was walking home, but never, so. And everybody I got, they deserved that shit. They really did. They really deserved that shit. But motherfuckers tried to rob me the same way, What's your thought on taking medication? Like I just took because my back's been bothering me. I put the thermal gun on it. I did electric stim for about 10, 15 minutes. I got to get some more gel for my ultrasound. I need some more. Plus, I'm gonna buy a new one. They got hot and cold ultrasounds now. But still, so and just sitting here for however long I sit here. I'm only gonna go about another 20 minutes. But what does it say? You got me taking every kind of pill. Nothing ever accuses my ills. Like I take tramadol because one of the worst pains I suffered from was thumb nerve pain, like both thumbs, and it would literally feel like just needles in both my hands. And they shot steroids in my hands, which I wouldn't recommend. That's of all the shots I've had in my life, the steroids in the hand, that was the most painful. That was the most painful shots I've ever had. And I only did it one time. But gabapentin was the only thing that made my thumbs quit hurting. And I mean, I suffered. And like I was telling someone earlier, some people live with pain so long that you just think it should be like that. You just think it should be like that. So I take a group of things like I have to take allergy pills. Like I still, I had that sinus thing the other day. I take allergy pills all year round. So, and I take muscle relaxers because after they remove that motherfucking blood clot from my fucking calf and cut out a lot of muscle, I had cramps at night. So I have to take them before I go to bed. So if it's necessary, like inhalers is necessary. If you want insulin, that shit's necessary. Hustler's gonna hustle. Yeah, and it's just you find new ways to hustle. That's all. You just find new ways. That ain't, illegal shit ain't the only way to make money. I mean, I know motherfuckers that's doing positive shit too. But I just keep my ear open, I just keep my ear open to shit, and people always calling me, what you think? What do you think about this? What do you think? How's this sound? People are always calling me about deals and shit and what they think about the deals and, how risky does it sound? I mean, I give a lot of different advice to people, because I've had experience in a lot of different avenues. And so I can speak the language out of a lot, with a lot of different people. So kind of know the game. Do medications kill us? Well, they not necessarily kill us, but they ain't really meant to solve your problem. Like it ain't too many medications that just stop what's wrong. They just make you keep needing to use it. And that's the big thing about medication. How can we get rid of the simps? Don't associate with them. Don't associate with them. Like, that's the thing that the manosphere don't understand is you see a lot of simps that take that manosphere way because, again, it was like the cop I said, it wasn't tough until he became a cop. Well, a lot of dudes ain't macked on women until they did this shit. And they start getting subs and they start macking on the subs. But before then, a lot of dudes ain't really successful like that. I mean, I just been dating for 5 years and I'm cool. Because I live with women, I'm 60, I live with women 30 years out of my life. I started living with a woman at fuck. And maybe more than 30 years, because shit, my first wife moved in with me. Because when I was playing football, she kept my apartment in Greensboro when I was trying out in camps and shit. And I would be coming back. You know, I get cut and I had to come back. She was living in my apartment then. So I'd go fly out somewhere, fucking try out, you know, little bonus money. They send you enough to go fly out and then get cut and have to fly back. Fly back to North Carolina, be back in a week and shit, or 2 weeks, you know. So, like I said, when they had that replacement players, I got called by a couple teams. The one that I had considered the most seriously was going to play with the Redskins because it was the closest. But they called me, wanted me to come up there and play tight end back then. And it was like, it just was so, it cost so much money. You had to pay, you know, you had to pay everything until you made the team. It was a few tryouts. And then once you made the roster, they paid everything. But until that point, it was all out of your pocket. So it was at least a week I was going to feed myself, and I was going to have to pay my own room for at least a week. So was that worth it? Worth, you know, risking my job? Because by then I had worked in my job for a minute. And so my ex and I looked at it, and it just wasn't really worth it. That's the hustler's ambition. Man, I'm still sick. I was on the dark around 2.9 when Bitcoin was 50 cents a coin. Yeah, a lot of people didn't get in on it. Them fresh and fit dudes, way past corny. See, I ain't never watched them other than seeing them. I think Sly had them showed on his little whatever it's called. I never watched him. Like I said, I never watched Kevin Samuels. I never watched him. The O'Shea cat, when Sly did something, that might have been years ago. But I mean, they don't talk nothing that's, you know, like there's nothing interesting to me. I have nothing against sisters. I mean, I see the evolution of what sisters have turned into. And like somebody was talking about simps, you know, it seems like in a way sisters have a look that attracts simps. That's what it appears like. The sisters have a look that attracts simps. Like I said, I was at the mall on Valentine's Day and I saw this simp just following this chick. And she, you know, got the butterfly eyebrows and the weave. And she just had the look. He had the look of a simp. And I just kind of giggled because we was in Macy's and she was around the perfume and shit. And so, you know, I'm looking at that and just like kind of laughing to myself because the shit is like, you see what's going on. You know, you see that this is, but it's like a lot of them. It's a lot of them. And then they want to complain about it. But it's like what people don't understand is you want to be chose. You don't want to be chose. You don't know. You want to be chose. So, you know, you go places and you see people and you deal with them and you get chose and you know. So a lot of times simps don't get chose. So they might be lovers. That one dude from ABA and preach 100% gay. Oh no, y'all know more than me. I don't watch them motherfuckers. I do not watch them motherfuckers. Can't nobody convince me otherwise. I don't know. They don't talk about nothing but that's uplifting. Yeah, and that's where Kwame Brown failed people. Now, Kwame Brown did good talking about putting trades in schools and shit. But he's like, you know, the same bullshit. Talk about niggas, you know. Like it ain't enough motherfuckers talking about niggas. But you know, like he had the best live I've ever witnessed. He had 20,000 people watching one of his lives. And I never watched Joe Rogan, so I don't have a really opinion on him. He seemed like controlled opposition, really, though. It's like he worked for them. I mean, come on. Exactly. They don't talk about nothing to uplift, and he's still just talking about niggas, you know. When he's talking about trades and stuff, go open a trade school. That ain't hard. Go open a school and get some mechanics. Go rent a place and teach people how to weld. Teach people how to, you know, but open up a shop and have interns come in there. Teach them about how to work on cars. Teach them the software of how to deal with cars. I mean, it's a lot of trades you can do. You can do, like, they got a scam here. They got a scam here where it's called Summit Academy, and they teach all these skills. But the thing is the market is so saturated a lot of times where the skills don't transfer. Because we had one dude who was gonna start building windows, and he was all hyped. They make you join the union. A lot of times you don't get the job. But like my boy Johnny was like, yeah, he's hyped, but I went through that shit and they don't help you. He was working with me. He's like, I went through that program. He said, they didn't really help me. You go to the union hall, they taking out union dues. They might give you a couple days worth of work, but he said to him, it wasn't worth it. But the other dude, he was all like into it. He's like, really thought it was going to change his life. I don't have problems with women. And finally, in these days and times, you get simply McSimpsons online pleading and crying with them suckers. Yeah, suckers, straight up suckers. Yeah. Motherfuckers like be wanting to wolf and shit. But when it come down to it, they just selling wolf tickets. That's all they doing. Motherfuckers just be wolfing and shit. That's what a lot of it is. You see a lot of motherfuckers on here just be wolfing, selling wolf tickets and shit. Don't be what they preach. Because this shit, if I would have been 24, 25 doing this shit, couldn't have dealt with me. What do you want? What are you coming over here by me for? It's like these cats. I give them love every day, but after a point, I'm like, yeah, you got to go away. You got to go away. How long? Okay, I'm going about another 10, 15 minutes because I got to get up super freaking early and it's going to be cold. But, things we do, people have done for me. So I look at it like that. That's like Tommy. He shit on Ebony. Women like he inbox thirst. Trick on him and sleep with. He sleep with them, no condom on camera. Damn, he's a nasty motherfucker. Again, he's a motherfucker. I really couldn't tell you his work. They some lovers. That's funny. But yeah, Lorenzo, I couldn't tell you about Tommy Sotomayor. I didn't know the other dude Sly mentioned. What was his name? He said that I didn't know his work either. He said they kidnapped him and shit. Now he's dead. I didn't know his work either. The dude Nick just said, that guy, the guy that recently died. He was probably near me and Nick age. I'm older than Nick. But I never even heard about that dude. So I don't dig very deep in these kind of things. There's only a few people that spark my interest. PJ, I saw that shit where dude was talking shit about Zach. He's like, wait a minute, you sitting here praising me in my text, but then you don't even give me publicity. He said Zach could suck his shit. He's like, fuck Zach. Yeah, David Carroll. I never heard of David Carroll. Yep, I never heard of him before. I never listened to his stuff. I couldn't tell you his work. I don't know, maybe my brother has, but I haven't. I know enough where it ain't too many motherfuckers I need to listen to. I listen to Bomber. I listen to Quantum of Science, Conspiracy University when he comes out with stuff. Conscious Daughter. I listen to her. Of course, Sly, Nick. I listen to their stuff when they put out stuff. But it's a very small people that I'll just listen to. It's just there's no knowing in what they put. Hey Jay, thank you for joining us. There's no knowing in what they put. I wouldn't put it past them people's. Marky on his finest have gay men with shows about dating women and masculinity. Yeah, of course. He was younger than you. Okay. He was younger than me. Ah, okay. Yeah, I never knew about him. Okay, I didn't know. I had to look him up because I really don't know his work. Yeah, Tommy, I've seen pictures, but listening to him, I saw what Super Truth said. Oh, you saw what Super Truth? Yeah, Truther. Yeah, Simple Truth. Yeah, he was roasting Zach's ass, But Derek was the first to really roast him, man. But Quantum of Science says something heavy. He was like, "There's gematria that they put out there for every story, and it could be another going down the hole, another Alice in Wonderland. It's an ever revolving thing, It's like." It's so much that it's like every shot I see, you can see manipulated shots. Like one cat used my work. He showed a lot of the game. In some ways, that's overkill. And it's like you could show almost the whole game to show examples of how they manipulate it. But it gets overkill. Like watching the rookie game tonight. You could see how, what's the dude? Cam that plays with the Pistons, you could see how they were generating it for him. I like the way they set it up. It was kind of like pickup games. One was the 50, the final was the 25. I like that concept, pickup game like. But again, you see manipulated shots, you see shots pushed out, and it's so much. It is so much. And then you see the leagues do the marking. You know, they drop the balls on purpose. Ha ha, show you that the gloves don't work. Ha ha. And so it's like you almost have to pick and choose because all of it is saturated with fraud. So you could constantly show fraud in sports because it's constantly happening. But it's a point where you will turn the audience off trying to prove your point if you show it too much. And I look at geometry the same way. It is just too much. And now it's a point where you know they got to be feeding it. It's almost like they're feeding it and they have a person to decipher it for you. I mean, you've kind of got to see that. And I saw that Zach B, like again, he talks the new name, the Jesuits. You know, it's them peoples. It ain't never been nothing but them peoples. And peoples came over here. The first person that stepped on American land from Europe was them peoples. So I see him protecting them. And I'll say that to him. I ain't, you know, I called the motherfucker on accident because I thought I was calling into the show. And I was like, oh, wrong number. Then I was like, is that you? So he ain't never replied. I'm like, fuck him, you know, because I got the motherfucker's number, but I had erased the show's number and put in that number. And it was actually, he answered and I didn't catch it. And I was like, oh, I think I got the wrong, because I was in my mind, I was calling into the show. And then I thought about like, fuck, why am I giving him my material? You know, let him do his thing. Let him do his thing. Like he got mad because I said that geometry was his thing, and that's it. That shit's his thing. That ain't got to be my thing. You do your thing. Come together and protest about the rigged games that would change and be authentic. People would have to quit going. That's the biggest thing. Sponsors would have to quit sponsoring it. But if people quit going, would be the biggest turnaround. But again, on the other hand, you saw a season where they still played without any fans. And so they took the L for a season and just as popular on TV. So that's the biggest thing, is people would have to ignore it. People have to turn off the TV sets and quit paying to go to games. That's the only way. That's the biggest protest. We want genuine sports. Do you think these guys that get dunked on, do they really make an attempt to try to block the dunk? I'm starting to think not. Yes and no. Yes and no. I'll say yes and no. Why? It's easier to dunk on somebody than to block the dunk, from the simple fact is momentum. You know, your momentum, like I dunked on a lot bigger dudes, but your momentum going down is easier. Now, if they catch you, like when you first jump, if they catch you then, that's the time. But if you're going, like you got the momentum going down, so it's easier to dunk on somebody. But a lot of times they just let it go. You see them just let it go. Dudes will jump and then do like this and back off. So it's a little bit of both. I didn't watch the game. I watched the movie City of God. Okay, James, what's happening? I only watched it because Friday night, I'll say Friday night is the one night you need the NBA package, because it ain't shit on Friday. Barely college on. I'm just like Tom Brady and Woodson sitting on the couch mocking for us. Yeah, believing it. There you go. Perfectly said, Jay. Yeah, I think the thing with him is just goddamn Jesuits. Yeah, and it's another name for the Illuminati. That's all. It's another name from the Illuminati. And as I said, you know, my rap about Isabella changed it, where he had to admit that the Jesuits had them folks in it. But what you have to understand is that was the takeover of them taking over the Catholic Church. That is, and not to say they probably didn't take it over sooner, but that was when they took over the Catholic Church. I believe in numerology and the frequency of numbers, but that gematria shit Jack pushes too much. There you go. I think he's in some ways controlled opposition. I agree. In some ways he is. He's definitely controlled. And he's made a lot of money. He's made a lot of money. Don't think he hasn't. Getting dunked on is the worst. Chris Crawford, that played in Atlanta, was the last person that dunked on me. And I couldn't even jump. It was like we was going baseline. I told the story before. My man Van Sickle was supposed to play with him. Matter of fact, it really worked out beautiful for Vasico because he had played like his 4-year college and really didn't have any avenues. So he started playing in my Pro-Am league, our summer Pro-Am league in Kalamazoo. And he played several games. We got somebody to come in from Europe to watch him play. And dude picked him up. I mean, again, his nickname was 6'9". He was 6'8", 6'9". Linky, he had a 4-game, 3-game, could handle, could shoot. Chris Crawford the same way, same size, but playing with Atlanta. And so the game was built up for them to play together. And everybody's in the gym. I walk in the gym, he ain't with me. And it's like, where's your guy? And I'm like, he had to go from us, what we had done previously, having the guys come in and look at him. He had to go out of town to go get his passport straightened out. It's just bad luck for us. But it helped him. He went over somewhere, and I don't remember, but he played, and he's doing well. But it's like, that's the kind of thing we was trying to do. He was young. He was like, when he came back from college, he's only like 22, 23. Hey, James. I thought y'all be talking about the last night as well. Right, I thought y'all talking about last night as well. But yeah, Chris went baseline and shit. I just was like, fuck, I'm not even attempting to jump. So, because I had like rotated over, but he had caught it on the move. And yeah, all I could do is look up. And I'm like looking at his waist as he jumped up and slammed it baseline. I'm like, yeah, I'm not getting in the way of that. But yeah, Chris Crawford was the last one could kind of say dunked on me. And again, shit, I ain't talking about, I wasn't even young then. I was probably in my late 30s then. So I wasn't young. I saw somebody say the comments on live stream that them Peoples was getting 30K or so from him for the work he does. Wow. Don't know how true it is. Wow. I never could be because he took your eye off. Because if you watch him at the beginning, he was saying all of it was them Peoples, but now he's changed his tune. What is this about? Do y'all all have popcorn? Who would you say had the best crossover of all time? Well, right now they're trying to push Tim Hardaway into the league and shit. One thing I didn't know is Tim Hardaway was all pro 5 times. I don't know what team. It's 3 teams. But they said he was all pro 5 times. That would put him in. I guess I had to break it down like this because the crossover is behind the back too. The person that had the best crossover behind the back was probably Clyde Frazier, where Clyde Frazier could he barely changed steps to cross over. So as he would dribble here, and then he put it behind his back. It was like just the next step was the other way, and he would just get by people. Now you got to take Earl Monroe. Earl Monroe pivoted, and that was my move, to spin off people. Earl Monroe would just spin off people. Tiny Archibald was so quick that he had a thing where he would go like right, left, and then back right. And he would do it so quick where nobody could stay with him. I mean, he was like Tim Hardaway was boom, and then the move was to get by you left-handed, once he crossed over to his left. But Nate Archibald did it like left to get him going that way, and then he would go back to his right. And I mean, you would just see the defender, they say breaking his ankles. They would just go so far when he would go to his left that when he went back to his right. So I guess you would have to look at the categories. I would say Tiny Archibald was probably better than Tim Hardaway. Far as that going left and then going right back to the right, I thought Archibald was a better than Hardaway. Now, what made crossover famous was, of course, Hardaway and the commercial and the Nike commercial with the Malcolm X, as we called him. Derrick Rose, maybe. My brother was was the last one to dunk on me, but I blocked his dunk too, but he won't admit it because I'm his younger brother. That's funny. Well, they shut his weed cultivation at the down and car through his house. They probably cut a deal then. I didn't know all that. Did they cut off his weed? I didn't know all that because I only listened to Rambo. Kyrie, yeah. I mean, what is interesting about him is his crossover is kind of a hesitation. He has a little hitch where he hesitates. like, and stop and start. He has one of the best stop and starts where like he'll be dribbling slow and then can blow by you. I would say that's his uniqueness. Um, yeah. Matter of fact, he just got into the Broadcast Hall of Fame. But yeah, he got all the words, wear the crazy outfits. They call him Clyde. Yeah, him. But I thought his around the back was even better than Pete Maravich. Pete Maravich too. I mean, I don't know if there was a better ball handler in the league better than Pete Maravich. I just don't know. I mean, again, I say this, and I'm the only one saying this. They still do his drills. All the ball handling drills, pretty much we use, was he invented. I mean, so I don't know that there was a better ball handler unless you get into Marcus Haynes. Probably was a better ball handler for the Globetrotters. Can't really say Curly Neal because Curly Neal wasn't quick. I mean, even though he could do Marcus Haynes' move, Marcus Haynes was quicker doing it. Curly Neal was okay, and Curly Neal was a good guy. I got to know Curly Neal. Went to his house and stuff. I got to know Curly Neal. Really nice guy. Went to Johnson C. Smith. He got cut by A&T, but he was from Greensboro. Rod Strickland was better than Tim Hardaway. Had a better career. We'd have to go to the stats, I guess. I don't think Strickland was ever all pro, though. I really don't. I don't think he was ever all pro. Yeah, it's definitely something to that car running into his house. I mean, come on. It's like overkill. But, I mean, like, I think his books are worth it. I got his first book. I'll probably get his second one. I mean, some of that stuff is okay. It's good reference. I think it's good reference. But at a certain point, it becomes overkill. And to say that every story, every day, I mean, we know sacrifices. So we don't need to look at the numbers to know that it was somebody's sacrifice. You don't really need the numbers to know that. It's easy to see now. So I don't know. Well, guys, I'm going to really have to go, but I will read the divination. So I will give that up. And so tomorrow is going to be day 7. And I don't know why I didn't have this all set. I'm sorry. What number? 3. 7. Okay. So give out some more good energy. And just something to think about as you try to raise your vibration. I mean, if nothing else, the color of the day. And once I got to arrange some furniture, but I got a desk, and I'm going to start doing pendulum work and card readings once I change everything around. Of course, it's in the back. Funny. So as you see, this is going to be color, and this is manic. And what's interesting is, I don't know if, this is a hand, and you see a lot of symbols, in Oman, Mayan, hieroglyphs. You see the symbols. Manic. Common Mayan usage, grasp or deer, completion, gateway opening, beauty, identification, dance, mudras, divination, acting as this, spiritual tools, priest or priestess, tsunami, hand, the mystic power of number 7, magnetic blue, the herbs are loosestrife or dogwood, flowers, blue aster, flower essence is mandia, scent is sandalwood, stones are moonstone, water sapphire, blue quartz, and blue calcite. So water element, direction is coming from the west. So if you want a little more, want a little push, manifest in the west. Shadow is issues completing things, talking too much, feeling inadequate, pressured or scattered, issues of acquiring tools, thinking the tool has the power and not you. It's like this wand can't work unless I put energy in it. It ain't gonna work without me. It's same with a pistol. It ain't gonna shoot unless you put energy in it. Shadow transformation, issues of completing things. Okay, here we go. Shadow being aware of your resistance and distractions. Learn to finish what you start. Talking satisfaction in each step along the way. Use commitment, focused intention, openness to help you complete. Experience yourself as the tool of light. Harmonic wisdom, resolution, mandra, hands out on both sides of the head at ear level, forearms perpendicular with thumbs up and forefingers forming an O. Meditation, I am by thinly veiled design, threshold to other dimensions. Affirmation, I am complete, I am open, I am the one with the light. And to give everybody a little, a little of Time Walker's information, it all starts with a gentle sadness. They lived in the Creator's day. They came from their original homeland. They knew that they had exact numbers of years and days before they would disappear off the earth as a culture and a lifestyle. But the civilization would build to a gentle love. They lived in the Creator's day and knew how to separate cycles and the great serpent. And to all my relations, I am another yourself. I don't know if I'd have to look at the stats of him. I like Kyrie's game. I do too. I have Michael Jordan ever been injured? I can't recall. Yeah, he broke his foot his sophomore season. He had broke his foot, and then they wanted to lose, so they get a higher pick, and they put him on restrictions and minutes. Just like LeBron, he never had any serious injuries until recently. Made in the lab. I was supposed to play ball at Johnson C. Smith, was concentrate on Wisconsin and dropped the ball. It's a pretty campus. You're in Raleigh? Let me see. No, Johnson C. Smith is in Charlotte. Yeah, it's in Charlotte. Johnson C. Smith is in Charlotte. Yeah. Our rivalry was central. I always had good games against Johnson C. Smith. I caught a winning touchdown against him. I caught my first pass against them. I always had good games against them. Bethune-Cookman, too. I always had good games against Bethune-Cookman. Actually, Tennessee as well. Tennessee State, excuse me. What to say? Not like AD. He's been injured. Now Rodman, on the other hand, was a workhorse. Yeah, Rodman never got really injured. But, you know, what hurt Rodman is what hurt Larry Bird. Rodman didn't go in the league till he was 28 years old. Or I would say Rodman was 25 or 26. Maybe not quite 28, but he was old. He was my age, and he didn't go into the league. My class rookie year, unless you got redshirted, would have been 83 or 84 if you got redshirted. Rodman went in the league, what, 80? See, Jordan went 87? See, they won back-to-back, 88, 89. Yeah, I don't think Rodman went to the league at 86, 87. So he was older. Larry Bird, the same way. Larry Bird transferring out of Indiana State, missing that year, he came into the league at 25, 26, and that hurt him. The color is blue. The color for today is blue. I'm sorry, Valerie. The color is blue. I'll show it again. I put it in the book because I'm going to read the shit when I get done. Read the rest of it. But here we go. Color for tomorrow is blue. I'm sorry. Rodney could party all night, drinking, drugging, and still trying to practice the next morning, run circles around him at 35. Yeah. When he played with the Bulls, he was old. Oh, no problem, Valerie, anytime. Larry Bird is the Eminem at the rap game. No. Like, Indiana basketball is crazy. Like I said, for years, like when Larry Bird was in high school, it was only one state champion. I don't know if he made it to the high school finals. I think one of his older brothers did. But basketball is king. And Larry Bird, again, grew up very poor. So his brothers was playing in them semi-pro leagues with brothers. And so Larry started going to the, and as he got size, but his brothers played. And so it was natural for him to play. And he played with brothers from the time he was a young cat, because his brothers was playing, with the brothers in Indiana. So he grew up playing pickup ball with brothers. And so he was a unique dude. I mean, a lot of people, again, his run was so short. It was really, he only had a run of 5 years. It hurt him transferring. He went into Indiana and he just, again, a poor dude, didn't have the clothes, shy. Wasn't a good situation for him. He got homesick. So I like Larry Bird's game. Larry Bird and Magic put passing back in the game. They put passing back in the game. There's no doubt. Again, the game, but see, I said this before, and I'm the only one really say this, because if you study, go look at the 70s game. It was the most efficient time in basketball ever. Damn near everybody scored. When you got the ball, you pretty much scored. Everybody was that good. And but there was really minimum passing. It was like 1-2 passes, and that person going to go work and score. Like Jabbar, you throw it to him, he going to sky hook. You get it to Will down low, he going up. But even after, like, when Wilt left that 71, 72 season, very efficient basketball. Again, no passing hardly, but very efficient. Whoever got it cooked. I watched one game, I think it was the Bullets with somebody, and I was just amazed. It was like 20 times down they scored. And I had never watched a game like it. I'm like, damn, it was 20 times in a row both teams scored as they went down. And it just amazed me. And then I started paying more attention to some of these games from the set. And I'm like, damn. Like, watch some of them ABA games. Dudes be cooking. Larry Bird was that old one. Yeah, he was old. He was older. Again, transferring, and he played 4 years at Indiana State. His senior year was great. Like, if you really want to watch a great basketball game and see peak Larry Bird, watch him against Mark Aguirre and them when they played DePaul. That was a better game than when they played Magic. When you watch DePaul play Indiana State with brothers that could play. I mean, that was back when Mark Aguirre could really play. And he put it on. He had Terry Cummings, Skip Dillard, the other guard that ended up becoming homeless. Really sad story. This dude had played in the Final Four, and he ended up riding the L's, being, went kind of crazy. I can't think of that cat's name, but he played in the Final Four, and then years later he was homeless, kind of had mental issues. And but yeah, they had a squad. They would have gave Magic and them a tougher time than what Indiana State did. They matched up better with Magic and them. But they had nothing for Larry Bird. Larry Bird put his foot all in them brothers' ass. Shaq is a crybaby. Yeah, why didn't Shaq ever win the national championship? And something that you'll look at is very few that won both. Magic, Quinn Buckner, is very few. Bill Russell, Jabbar. But the line is longer. Dudes who won the national championship. And then when they went into pros, they kind of let them do that. Also, he back injured. Yeah, well, Larry was kind of cheap, and he went to lay his mother's driveway. He cemented, he cemented her driveway, and he did the work himself. Fucked up his back. Fucking, it's a lot of work on a machine and stuff, and lifting, sitting on that machines rocking you. The backhoe. He should have just paid somebody. Just because you know how to do it, he had the money to pay somebody. Also, so that's what hurt his back. That's really what hurt his back, and he never recovered. And again, when he got that back injury, he had to be in his 30s. Like, he only went to the Dream Team because they liked him. Him and Magic, they did that Converse commercial and found out how much they had in common. And they had known each other because, as I said before, when Kentucky won the championship, 77. Yeah, they beat Duke in 77. That team, Joe B. Hall was the coach of Kentucky. He did I don't know if it wasn't the Olympic, but it was the highest AAU-like stuff, the American team playing the national game. And he was mostly playing the Kentucky boys. But there's a couple plays where they go down court and, Magic's hitting him with the quick pass that Larry Bird hit him one back, and then Magic shoveled it back to him, and Larry scored. And they was just saying how they was killing them. And Goose Gossage had 50 in that championship game. Goose Gossage, or no, that might be the baseball player, but Goose Gibbons maybe was his name. He had 50 against Duke, and he later played for Atlanta. Left-handed cat. Didn't have a great career, average career. But yeah. So yeah, it's just appreciating people. That's all. And I don't think enough people appreciate what Larry Bird brought to the game. Him and Magic is the only player that can get in those guys' heads on the court, then take them out the game. Well, he was the one that made popular, like you put a dude, you got your knee and your forearm in his back, and then what they call pull the chair. He was the one that, well, maybe Rick Mahone, but Rodman used it in bigger games. Rick Mahone probably is the one that started that with pulling the chair out, because people would, feel him, and then, you let go and the person travels. But I think Rodman used it in bigger games and used it more effectively. But I think, yeah, Rick Mahone. And I played with Big Rick. He when they tried him out down here, I got to play with him. My guy that played with the Globetrotters, when I played with Ryder and ended up getting a fight with him, they played, the real players, when they would come town, we want to see the real players. And so Tyron Rowe was like, man, I'm going to take you to go play with them because you good enough to play with everybody else. And so we got to play with, a lot of the Timberwolves playing, working out and shit. So yeah. I said again, Pat Mahomes probably the best athlete I ever ran into. When he dunked on Tyrone, still I won't forget that. It hit him right in the face. It's like Tyrone went up trying to block, and then shit, Pat Senior dunked that shit. And I mentioned this many times, but the shit still was impressive in the motherfucker from a pro baseball player that could throw a baseball 100 miles an hour. I said Pat threw that football. Shit, man. I want to say 6, 7 blocks. He threw a football. It was like 6 or 7 blocks. He threw the fucker so far. Oh, I was trying to think because he was like, damn, how much? Because we have money on the line, how far he could throw that fucker. And we was looking at the and I'm hyping him up because I'm bet with him and I'm fading everybody else. But we was looking at how he could not hit the wires because all the wires is in the way. That motherfucker threw that shit high and that shit went up high and it sailed down the street. Man, he threw that ball so far. I think it would have been a football field, like 80 yards. That was just on the street, just on the whim and just throwing that motherfucker. It was just fucking around. But Pat was still clearly one of the best athletes I've ever encountered. Larry retired at 39. He didn't start so late. Come in to say one, he would have instead retired at 35. Exactly. He would have. Yeah. Yeah, if he didn't start so late, that hurt him. That really did. Because before, like what they used to do is take a year away from you. Like if I was when my coach went to Prairie View, if I'd have followed him, I would have actually got 2 more years to play because I would have had to sit out for 1 year. And then I got redshirted my freshman year. So I could have went down there and played, but I would have had to sit out, play that year, and then play an extra year. So I'd end up coming out in 85. I went to camp in 83. I played my first semi-pro season that summer, so yeah. Ginobili was a bad. You like Ginobili? I ain't really like Ginobili. Like, I don't know if anybody noticed on the rookie game tonight, there was an African on one of the teams. They had a couple Europeans. They had a German, Wagner, Wagner, where his brother was in the league that went to Michigan now, the younger brother that played at Michigan last year. That Wagner, because the big tall Wagner he's bounced around now. He's drafted by the Lakers, but he's been bounced around the league, his brother. But his younger brother played in the rookie game too. So it wasn't a whole bunch of foreigners that played. Well, I'm gonna have to call it. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely call it because 5 o'clock is gonna come super early. Maybe one show tomorrow. I should be on tomorrow at this time. Don't have nothing to do Sunday. So look for me 24 hours. Well, like 11 hours, I guess. or 22 hours. Again, everyone, this is the Chocolate Mountain Show. I've been your host, Big Pontiac, and thank each and every one of you who participated. Thank you for participating. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for watching. The people that watch this in the future, whatever it is, thank you, because as you see, I've got back in my rhythm and I'm gonna start putting out content. And this thing doesn't like my content. I put that bullshit out about the other leagues and they give me more props. They don't give me props on my individual motivational content. But that's okay, because I'm back in my groove. I'm back in this midnight groove. I'm not going Monday either because there's no school. President's Day, they gave the children out of school. So there'll be no responsible daddy's hour on Monday. So you should catch me on that Tuesday, but I will be back tomorrow night. And as I always say, till we meet again, say less.